Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video. In today's video, we're diving into the tier lists for September of 2024 for the early to mid-game players, ranking all the legends, putting them on a tier list, hopefully helping you guys out with what characters to prioritize first to take down the entirety of the game. Now remember, if you're more of an endgame player, if you're stuck in the cycle, or not stuck, but if you're heavy into the cycle of your treasure map, Kizuna, Grand Party, and Pikqchu, this particular video might not satisfy all of your opinions, but it may help you guys out in terms of where characters sort of fit within the meta at the moment, what characters are the best in the game, and which ones are really not worth your time. As always, if you are a new player, I always recommend keeping at least one of every single copy. You have no idea when that character will be very, very valuable. And obviously with level limit break, you probably shouldn't sell characters anyway. You should always feed them in until you've maxed out the level 150, having 10 dupes in a legend. But we are ranking characters on power, speed, usability, colors, typings, how they go across the board in terms of every game mode. I have some particular tiers that are devoted to particular game modes. Because, like, say for example, like Grand Voyage, like you have to level up some characters, which is kind of shitty. But as of right now, it's kind of important to focus on the content we have at the moment, not just the content that's coming moving forward. Now, I'm going to try and blitz through this video. Obviously, I just had my baby boy. Thank you so much to everyone that has given me the kind wishes, great words, and I just really appreciate all the love and support. So yeah, I'll try and fly through this as quickly as possible. I don't really have much time on my hands as well, so we'll see how we go. But if you enjoyed the video, bell like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. With that said, let's dive in to the end of September 2024 new to mid player tier list. Alright, so here we are as it stands of August 2024. This is what it ended up looking like at the end of August. Now, Zoro Sanji, still the best unit in the game. Gear 5, 6 stars, very, very good. Ace definitely jumped up the ranks, obviously with the support from the Zoro Sanji and slashes, obviously with Shanks. Luffy's still fantastic. Blackbeard versus Luffy are awesome. And then obviously the usability of Nami Karina is still unrivaled. The paralysis and special reverse removal of Uta is still very, very good, especially for new players. For Striker and Cerebral teams, she kind of satisfies a bunch of norms that not a lot of these other characters do. And then finally you have your Gear 5, 6 plus. Now, once you sort of move down the tiers, obviously God tier, these characters are all very, very good. They're just sort of just outside this sort of top 10. They probably make an argument of like top 10, top 20, top 30, those types of units. And these characters are not in order. So I do want to preface that. They are not in order. As for the meta, like these characters are pretty much as good at the moment because of these characters above them. As you go down, you have S tier Captain, S tier Sailor. Obviously, these are substitute options. These are other really good Captain options that can work really well as hybrids. S tier level limit break, obviously this is where you need 10 copies of the unit to get the character to its max potential. If you don't have these characters at level limit break 5, then they're not going to be as good as what they are in this particular tier. Next we've got PvP focus. As I mentioned, I do have a couple of tiers that are devoted to particular game modes. This one here being PvP. So these characters are all worth leveling up for your PvP teams. If you pull them, max them out because you want them on PvP. Obviously, like, this lore is the same as this lore. But that's pretty much it. We're going to make some changes as well before we dive in, but I just want to sort of cover the tiers first. A tier captains, obviously not as good as S tier captains. A tier sailors, obviously not as good as S tier sailors. A tier level break, obviously not as good as S tier. And then support, Grand Voyage, necessity. So these characters here are basically characters that you have to max out for Grand Voyage if you want to clear it smoothly. That's the goal of this particular tier. And then down here, we've got bad for now. This is where they could get like a level limit break. They could get a 6+, something like that. Or if they could get a Grand Voyage in the future, that kind of gives them some sort of buff, or maybe they move into the meta because of some other reason. Moving on down the bottom here, we have needs and love. All these characters need a 6+ level limit break. You name it, they need it. That's why they're here. And as you can see right down the bottom here, we have the new characters to talk about as well. Esper I already did, so Esper doesn't need to come. We can leave Esper at the back. So we're going to start with the treasure map legends and then make our way down. But first, we're going to scroll back to the top. We're going to have a look at the tier list and see if we need to change anything. I'm going to leave the top 10 right now because I don't know if I'm going to change the ordering or bring characters out or whatnot. But in terms of meta characters, I am going to make some changes. And obviously in God tier as well. So as for this God tier, I think everyone's pretty much spot on. This Brook is fantastic still. Atlas could probably come down to S tier captain. You're not really ever using her. Like, you're mainly using her for her attack down removal as captain, which is great. This Chopper can definitely move down now that Pain is obviously not that big of a deal with stuff like the HP guard and whatnot. Brook's definitely very, very good. Yeah, he's fantastic. I'm happy leaving Brook here. Kid Killer, still very, very good, but I do think that most of the time they're just used as a sailor nowadays for powerhouse and driven-based teams. I do think that's probably a very fair statement. I'm going to bring Lord Beppo right down here to A tier sailor. Honestly, Lord Beppo, just like, not a fan. Like, that unit kind of sucks, man. I ain't gonna lie. Other S tier sailors, we're gonna bring Dofi and Sugar down to A tier sailor. Definitely A tier sailor. Like, they have good damage output, but like that's really all you're using them for. Barrier removal's excellent, but there's so many other characters that can do that. Other characters in S tier sailor. Nami, honestly, is probably on the cusp of moving down. Nami really hasn't seen that much play ever, but she's still got good credentials on paper. Born Clay's still great. This Luffy's still fantastic. Pretty happy with everyone else. Nice. Yep, I'm pretty happy with this. This is looking pretty nice. Pretty nice. We're gonna bring actually Frankie down. We'll bring Frankie down to S tier captain. I think Frankie's probably like around this sort of same tier as Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo, just with better multipliers. And this Usopp definitely can move down to S tier sailor. You're pretty much only using this Usopp for the set target. He's definitely fallen out of the meta. Odin Toki's still fantastic. Robin Koala's still fantastic. Yeah, all these characters are all very good. And I'm still happy with them. Blackbeard could probably move down. Blackbeard could probably come down to S tier captain. Yeah, I think that's probably... That's definitely fair. You can come down to sailor. You remove pain with your special, which is great. It's pretty much the only thing you're doing, though. Your super type is pretty average. This Law's still fantastic. Luffy's still fantastic. Alright, beautiful stuff. Alright, as for other characters to move down, if we go all the way down here, we did get a new Grand Voyage since I last did this video, and this Dogstorm is now a Grand Voyage necessity. You need him level Limit Break and Limit Break expanded, so get your materials out. And so is this Crocodile. This Crocodile's also a necessity as well for the same Grand Voyage. So it's why I have this particular tier, because characters will move up into it. Basically for the bad for now, like that's why I put this tier here, because I can see them actually getting some sort of Grand Voyage in the future that makes them viable. Same with these characters here. Like, for example, Mihawk and Perona, like, once they get their 6+, like, they'll definitely probably move up. But as for everything else, I'm pretty happy with leaving everything else here. I think you have, like, a really, really good support. And I'm pretty sure you have a really... you have a really good support as well. And you have an amazing support as well. So we'll bring you guys up into support. Got to give characters love where it's due, right? I think this Barto is also a Grand Voyage necessity too. But we'll put him in that tier there. Orochi... Look, Orochi could probably come up into PvP, but I don't even use Orochi in PvP. Speaking of other PvP characters, we can definitely move down. Kizaru. Kizaru is going to come down to bad for now. You're not ever running Kizaru anymore, mainly because Odin and Cracker exist. Like, it's just... It is what it is, as they say. It is what it is. As for everything else, I'm pretty happy with everything else here. I don't think we need to make too many changes at all. We can kind of just rock it from there. So let's go down to the first character we're going to talk about, which was Treasure Map Legend Lucci and Kaku. Now, Lucci Kaku, obviously they're a Treasure Map character. They have a very interesting switch ability that does damage, and then they can actually start with their super switch, which does more damage. They have a very unique ability where if you have a threshold or a damage reduction, depending if you're Lucci or Kaku, they're going to reduce it by like 70% and then give you an attack and all boost, depending on which one you have. I believe Lucci is for damage reduction, Kaku is for threshold, but if you're in your dual form, you actually get both of them, which is pretty cool. The downside to it is their super swap doesn't put them in their dual form, so you have to sort of know what's coming and be in the right form when you're moving into the correct stage. And their special doesn't really do all that much besides like the damage component of it. Off the top of my head, I actually do not even remember what their special does. I just remember it does damage. Obviously puts them in their dual form. They're okay. You'll probably see most of their play as a captain for Treasure Map. Being a Treasure Map legend, they're going to be boosted moving forward. I will update the icon next time we're here, but look, that's pretty much all they're used for. As a new player, like, they're definitely not something you will need, ever. As for the last Super Sugo of the One Piece Day Celebration, we had Shanks vs. Kid. Now, I'm going to start with Kid, because, like, people love to rattle on about Kid. Like, people love to gas Kid up and talk about how he's the best legend in the game. He's not. He's not even close to the best legend in the game. And when I say that, people don't actually say he's the best legend in the game. But people, like, suck his dick so hard that they think that just because the unit's so great on paper, it means that he's going to be so good in the rest of the game. On paper, this unit is amazing. Very, very good unit. Has HP guard, which is a very, very strong ability, especially for you new players that don't have these like maxed out characters, maxed out potential abilities to bypass stuff like pain, bleed, super burn, all that kind of stuff. But Kid's usability is like below 0. Like, it's honestly almost as bad as Law. It's probably worse than Law's. However, Kid's kit is just, it's way better than Law's. He buffs shooter characters. You need to run 4 to 6 shooters to get the full effectiveness out of him. He can remove, I believe it's bind in his captain ability if you have 4 shooters. And then he does a massive chain multiplicative buff up to 2.5 times. He has a massive conditional boost against paralysis, which you can only use once. But the conditional boost is actually so ridiculously high. Once you get his first ability, you can apply the HP guard, which is very, very good. You can apply damage nullification, depending on how low your HP is, which he can actually bring you down to a very low HP pool, thanks to his special, cutting your HP by like 99% or something silly. But, like, where I've tried to use this guy, there's just been better options. Now, that doesn't make Kid bad, and I agree with what people are saying, but, like, if you are to run, like, a strength team, like, there's just so many other characters that I would rather run. Like, I honestly would rather run Kaido. Trying to build, like, a strength shooter team is just so difficult. Sure, you could probably build the damage around Kid. That's going to work fine. But 9 times out of 10, you're not really going to see that 2.5 times chain multiplicative buff, purely because you need to use specials to go into his charge. Every time a shooter character uses a special, he gives himself 5 seconds of cooldown. In short content, this is just not something you're going to see. In long content, you can only use his special once, so he's just, honestly, like, he's just, in my opinion, he's bad. I don't like him, but I can definitely respect what he's doing on paper. For me, I'm going to put him in the meta for now, because obviously they've just been making content around him. But just like Law, I can almost say for certain next month they're both gonna end up here. I think both the characters don't really hold that much viability right now, because strikers and shooters definitely, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna leave them there. I don't even care. Like, if you're a new player, you're never gonna use these characters. I'm sorry. Like, free spirit, slashers, they're the characters you're gonna bring, they're the characters you're gonna use. You're not gonna use these characters, like, at all. Like, it's just, it's sad, sure, but it unfortunately, like, it is what it is, as they say. But, like, yeah, look, I don't know what to tell you. Like, yeah, I'm gonna put him in ST captain. I'll put him in ST captain. As for Shanks, people are gonna get so mad at me for this, but, like, you gotta understand where I'm coming from in this regard, the sense that slashers and free spirits right now have so much more viability in the game. And the big reason we do these tier lists every single month is to update this kind of stuff, where if you're a slasher or a free spirit, you're already winning. Like, look at this top tier, ready? Like, you've got slasher, free spirit, slasher, free spirit, slasher, free spirit, slasher, slasher, free spirit. Like, do you get where I'm coming from? Like, free spirit. If you are within this realm, you are already winning at the game. And the upside to Shanks is he does ride the coattail of Zoro Sanji. But look, the whole fucking game rides the coattail of Zoro Sanji. Zoro Sanji are the best legend in the game, and they're so far above the rest of the legends that they should have their own tier up here. Sure, this guy's really, really good for new players. You can just, like, blitz content and whatnot, especially if you have Zoro Sanji as a sub. And sure, you're never using Zoro Sanji as a captain, but Zoro Sanji unlocks so many teams because you can just turn everyone into free spirit and slashes. You get so much damage output with these types of characters. You get damage with Roger and Odin. You can get 6 free spirits for Luffy. You can get the 6 slashes for Shanks. And with this combination of these 3 characters, you can basically just get every buff you need for damage. On top of that, you can remove Bind and Burn. You can remove Despair. You can get a double territory, a double conditional buff, an attack boost, an orb boost. You just get so much. So, whilst sure, honestly, I would probably agree with most people that on paper, Kid's kit is better than Shanks's. But what Shanks is doing in the current meta right now, he's just a monster. Like, he's actually, like, so damn good. Sure, as a new player, you're probably not going to run him that much unless you have Zoro Sanji. But if you do, you just have straight up despair removal. You can hybrid him with so many other characters. You get double conditional buff very easily if you are running either 6 slashes or if you're just bringing Zoro Sanji. You can... What else can you do with Shanks? You can apply weakening effect, which is going through full immunity, which I think Bonnie's the only other character that can do that. This one here. and she needs some pretty crazy restrictions. The downside to Kid and Shanks, the big downside, is you need 18, I believe it's tandem, recovery, bomb, super bomb, those types of orbs to get their versatility charge. That's the big downside to the characters, but other than that, they're fantastic. We saw disgusting numbers with these two. Like, it was absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's ridiculous what you could do with this particular unit. The final unit of the One Piece Day celebration is actually Dory Brogy. Now, Dory Brogy, honestly, were the shining lights of the entire celebration, in my opinion. Sure, Luffy versus Kaido are probably the best character to come from that, but this guy literally broke the game. We broke the damage cap because of Dory Brogy. Dory Brogy's end of turn damage, or actually, speaking of which, I need to bring, Brook. Where's Brook? Where is my boy Brook? Surely I have him in AT captain just for how, like, okay, we do not have him there. Wow, I actually don't have Brook. Where's Brook? Brook. Where the hell is Brook? There he is right there. He needs to come up here. So, talking about Dorian Brogy and the combination of Brook. Throughout the last Super Boss, we actually managed to break the damage cap thanks to the combination of Brook and Dory Brogy. Dory Brogy are obviously a free spirit slasher. Again, ruling the fucking game. They apply a massive attack boost. They can apply increased damage taken. Shanks has a weird crit buff as well. I forgot to mention that, where he can increase crit chance by 30%, allowing pretty much every character that has crit to guarantee crit, which allows this guy to then apply increased damage taken, full immunity. They do 3 times their attack as end of turn damage. Now, you might be sitting there saying, yeah, it's Stump, normal attacks only is a thing, and normal attacks only is just straight up going to cuck this unit. Well, if you combine this end of turn damage with Shanks' weakening effect, with Luffy's increased damage effect, or their increased damage effect, you're then applying like a 1.75 times, or they do 3 times their damage, so say they do one, let's just for the sake of the argument say 1 trillion damage. They do 1 trillion damage and then timesing it by 3, so now you're at 3 trillion. You're timesing it by 1.75, then you're timesing it by 1.3, and then the weakening effect increases this by 1.3, so you times it by another 1.3. This multiplier goes through the absolute goddamn moon. All of a sudden, the end of turn damage is doing somewhere upwards of 6 to 7 trillion damage, and this is not affected by the damage cap. Right now, this particular combination is the key to Super Boss. It is going to absolutely destroy Super Boss moving forward. You can obviously do some stuff with this particular character as well because of the ability to go through normal attacks only. So you could probably just avoid using something like Brook. But having this particular unit maxed out, really high levels, is just going to be absolutely demonic for those Super Boss teams moving forward. As of the rest of the game, like, after the One Piece Day celebration, obviously we're in a bit of a wind-down period. We had the 6+ of Hawkins for the end of the One Piece Day celebration. I did a showcase on Hawkins. Honestly, he was pretty good. Cerebral Slasher. He's not amazing. Not even close to amazing. But he definitely went from, like, the shittest unit in the game. Like, this guy right... Where is he? Like, I think I got him in, like, support, probably. Yeah, he went from literally, like, the worst character in the game to, like, actually usable. And the fact that he's a slasher now, you just run Zoro Sanji on that team, and all of a sudden you can do some really, really cool stuff. He extends the duration of turns the enemy has, but he's this weird character that wants to take damage, but then makes the enemy stall, and then has damage reduction and threshold effects, but still wants to take damage, then reflect that damage as tap timing bonus, and then normal attacks only just cucks him anyway. So, again, you can do some weird stuff with Brook, but it only goes up to 7.5 million, so it's very low. He doesn't provide any real utility for the team, but he does some weird tap timing bonuses that can work for the new Garb. Not that he's going to go on the new Garb's team, but the new Garb, look, he's alright. Like, he's not too bad. Galaxy Impact Garb came as an end-of-month batch. I have no idea why he wasn't just in the celebration. I kind of do, because, like, the celebration was made, like, months ago. But we do have Galaxy Impact Garb, and he's actually, like, he's a fairly decent character. He's not anything too crazy. He's nothing too bad. He does have HP guard, but unlike these two demons, his HP guard isn't what it needs to be. Like, it's honestly, like, I don't even know if he's an 8S2 captain. He's a free spirit, so, like, he's just automatically kind of walking there. His HP guard's only 95%. He does some stuff with final tap bonus. If you have one of every color on the team, you can do a overheal mechanic, and you can do some fun stuff that way. But yeah, look, I feel like okay, whatever. I'll leave them there, because, like, people will sit there and be like, you can't put Garb in the same tier as Law and Kid. That's just not possible. But look, I'm telling you right now, these two motherfuckers, they're gonna be out soon. They're gonna be out real soon. But as for Garb, he does, like, a final tap bonus. He can rotate block orbs. He cuts his HP. He wants to be at low HP, which is not great, to be honest. It's not bad because he gets a nice buff when he is at low HP. But he's just not, like, all there. Like, he's just not all that. He gives you tandem recovery orbs. He's a very, very good super tandem ability. You just need one tap. But, like, right now, I think I just have him up here because it's his month. I can definitely see him falling out. As for the sword units, honestly, couldn't even tell you what the sword units do. I'm not even going to lie to you. I read them, and it just went in one ear, out the other. They have weird sailor abilities. They're made for Garp. Obviously, you want to run them on Garp's team, but, like, I'm just going to throw in the AT Sailor. I don't really see them being viable for, like, any time soon. They're whatever. Like, they're generally whatever. The final characters that we had to talk about, we have the Exchange Vivi, and then we have the PvP Alvaro Bizarro. I'm going to throw him straight up here in PvP Focus. He does seem interesting with the combination of Sanjo and Wolf. I think you can do some pretty cool stuff. Lowering attack is quite nice. Lowering speed is really, really good. And then having the ability to halve stats or attack and defense on a 25-second cooldown is actually really, really good too. So I'm not going to summon for him. Look, I'll eventually pick him up at some point. I'm really happy with my Shooter Dex team, but, like, what you can do with Dex Powerhouse is going to be very interesting moving forward. Driven Powerhouse, that is. Finally, we have Vivi. Look, Vivi is an exchange legend. If you can pick up copies of Vivi, pick up copies of Vivi. Most people will probably pick up the PKA copy. That's probably going to be the most valuable for, like, endgame players. You can get the Kazuna Insignia one too if you've got a bunch of them lying around. Rayleigh points, obviously, you can farm. That's a really easy one to get. And then, obviously, with medals, you're going to have to bite the bullet eventually. Treasure Map Shop, another really good place for a lot of people to farm up tickets to get. And then PvP Shop, if you're crazy enough to do that, you can get your final copy there. But Vivi, she's a guaranteed conditional booster against Delay at 2.25 if your captain is Free Spirit or Slasher. She's a Free Spirit Slasher, which is great, but I just really can't see her being used outside of a Sailor. She has a final tap, but look, maxing out these, these exchange characters is so challenging that I don't ever really see anyone getting her to the full potential unless you're a full-time whale. And if you're a full-time whale or you play the game so goddamn much, there's no way in hell you're running her over anything that's above her in these particular tiers. So look, Vivi for me, I'm going to bring her down here to, honestly, A tier Sailor as well. Like, I honestly think Vivi's bad. Like, at level rank 5, sure, she's probably doing some fun stuff, but the realism of getting her to that particular point for newer to mid-game players, it's just not there, man. It's just not there at all. So unfortunately, I'm going to bring her down. I'm definitely bringing her down here. She's honestly kind of like dookie stinky butthole. Like proper dookie stinky butthole. So yeah, that's the tier list. As for the top 10, I'm pretty happy with the top 10 as the way it is. You could probably make an argument to me that Blackbeard would be higher, but for new players, like, the fact you have to bring 4 powerhouse characters is very challenging. This Luffy, honestly, is probably a little bit better for newer players, in my opinion, just because you just don't need, like, Freak Spirit's just a lot easier to do. This particular Luffy is probably fallen out of the meta now. If you have Gear 5 Luffy, just keep him 6-star. You're not really ever going to run 6+ unless you need, unless you need, like, a very good Grand Voyage sort of leader. I think K-Dad's probably falling out of the meta as well, falling into the meta tier. I think that's probably fair to say. Same with probably like Momo's definitely moving down. As for the character I want to bring up into the top 10, for newer players, I think Yamato is going to be that unit. She's just got so much value on Free Spirit teams, and the ability to just remove 7 turns of any debuff is very, very good. She can also be an attack booster. She can be an orb booster. She applies some really, really good damage buffs. But her utility is the main reason that you want to bring her. But it's going to wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!